Okay, so Residual is the game I'm working on, and everything in Residual is procedurally generated, which means the computer pretty much generates the whole game world. And that's not just the planet and how it looks, also how it's laid out, but also all the life forms on that planet. Now, the only exception I have right now is that those life forms are not procedurally generated. I pretty much have to create, draw, animate, and program every single life form you see on the planet. So today's challenge is actually to make a system that allows me to create a variation of creatures by having them procedurally generated, combining body parts and somehow have a lot of variation going. Great challenge. So I have this creature, this thing running around already. But what if we separate him right here, separate his head from his body, and then we draw alternate version, different type of creatures, different type of heads, and we can replace this head with another head. And if we do the same for the body, and then the code will mix and match heads and bodies, and I think that will allow us to create a variation of creatures. So let's try this. Okay, we now have separate heads and one separate body, which is enough to try and test this theory I have. What I need now is to define what every head is, size-wise, dimension-wise, but also its anchor point where the neck meets the body. And for the body, I'll also need those anchor points. And if we then render the heads on top of these bodies based on where the anchor points are, in theory, that should work. So let's create some code. Let me just explain a little bit of what I'm doing. Right here we have creature head, and this is pretty much the makeup for every head. So the X and Y offsets, the height and the height, and then we also include the anchor points that we need to attach it to the body. And that brings us to the body. Right now we only have one body, but we have a lot of animation frames. So for every animation we need the anchor points. That allows us to do a little bit of animation. And we also record the rotation value, which allows us to rotate the head a little bit upside down as we are running around. So that's pretty much how we're now setting up a creature. This is just a bipedal creature, so 2 feet running around. I can imagine doing a different version for 4-legged creatures and maybe flying creatures, but for now this is just a good test to see if you can make a lot of variation going with just a couple of heads. And I think that by adding a couple more bodies, and those can be larger bodies or completely different type of bodies, I think we can come up with interesting life forms and then let the planet dictate which heads are being matched to which bodies. So let's see how this looks. And these numbers are hard-coded, programmed by me, and I have to figure out where they are right now because I simply don't have tools to do this. I don't have an editor, don't have a program. Maybe I'll create one if I'm really gonna use it, but right now I'm just trying to see if this actually works. And based on how much work it's gonna be, I either create a tool for it, which I don't really like doing, or I just manually code it all by hand, which is probably just as much work as creating a tool and then doing it. So in the end, I think this actually saves me some time, but let's just see if it actually works first. So the animation needs a little bit of work. It's not perfect. It's actually, it needs a lot of work. But the theory, the challenge, completed. And what if we add more than just a body and a head to this life form? What if we add a string of DNA? Just a couple of numbers to decide what this creature does in its life. If it has a very big body, it might be very slow. If it has a slim body, it might be very fast. If it has a long neck, it might just live underneath trees. If it's very tiny head, tiny body, it might just be living in cooler places, darker places, somewhere down underground. All these variables will be creating life forms for us and fill the whole universe of Residual, every planet, with interesting creatures. So I think today was a very productive day. By the way, this whole monitor, keyboard stuff, this whole office vibe I got going now, I'm really digging it. Maybe I should have done it sooner, but up to this point, working on a MacBook from the kitchen table always worked for me. But it's nice to have some variation and change in life, so this might actually be good for creativity. Anyway, I'm gonna create some more body parts and heads and stuff, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next week. Like, subscribe, and please comment below if you have anything to say, or even if you don't have anything to say, comment below, because comments help videos get noticed and interaction makes videos pop up to more viewers. So comment below and help me get this channel bigger and better and towards that goal I had set, 7,500 subscribers. I'm not there yet, and we're now entering the final quarter of the year. I need about 1,000 new subscribers before the end of December. Oh boy. Let's just focus on Residual. I'll see you next week. Bye.